What's up guys, it's your fave Kiwi Coach. Welcome to another video in this matchup series leading up to our seminar at Grandage. Anyways, in this video we're going to be talking about the matchup king himself, which is Ben Hogan. We'll give you guys a little bit of a summary as well as talk about why his golf swing is matched up. Let's go do this thing.
Here's Ben Hogan. He's got to pitch it over his playing partner's golf ball, and he does it without leaving a mark.
So welcome back to the channel, guys. If you guys are new to QB Golf Japan, we do a bunch of videos like this every single week. So what I want you guys to go do is hit that little red subscribe button there. Yeah, that one down there. Smash the like button while you guys are down there, and let's get into our major announcement. Alright guys, if you've been watching the channel, you guys know what this major announcement is going to be. It's about our upcoming seminar at Grandage Golf Club. It's going to be in December. It's on matchups. Again, we're only going to be having 10 people per day because, again, we want to make it individual. We want to give everyone plenty of time to give you guys the best matchups for your game. So if you want, go to the link in the description, hit that link. It's going to take you to a Google Docs form. You're going to fill out, reserve your spot. Again, they're going very quick. There's only a few left. So go ahead, get it now, sign up, have a great time, and let's go talk about Ben Hogan. So we really can't have a Ben Hogan video without talking about his background, because I think his background is why he became the matchup king. So let's give you a brief little background about Ben Hogan. So anyways, Ben Hogan grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. Really early age, he had a traumatic event happen to him. His dad actually committed suicide in front of him, which is a very sad story. But again, I think that led him and basically vaulted him into a position where he had to get things done himself if he wanted to survive in the world. So anyways, through trial and error and through a lot of hard work, he eventually got into professional golf, where he then struggled for some more long years, let's call it about 10 years, just struggling with the hook. And eventually he actually found something in his golf swing to quote unquote match up his golf swing, make it work. So again, I think that Ben Hogan's story is a great story. If you guys haven't heard all about his story, leave a comment below. Let me know if you guys want me to do a whole video talking about Ben Hogan. If not, also there's a bunch of great books about the history of Ben Hogan as well. Let's go hop into the first part of his golf swing and show you guys why I think his golf swing is matched up. Alright guys, so it's time for what you guys have been waiting for. Let's talk about Ben Hogan and why his golf swing is matched up. Now, for you guys to understand what I'm about to talk about, let's talk about his real issue, which was the hook. So again, for 10 years of his career, probably even longer, he struggled with the hook with a lot of his golf clubs. Again, he didn't win tournaments or a lot of tournaments until about 10 years into his professional golf career. So that means that there was 10 years of hard work with not really making a lot of cuts, not making a whole lot of money, because even back then there was not a lot of money in professional golf. So he had to have a second job to support himself. But anyways, he spent a large portion of his career trying to figure out ways and tricks to get rid of that hook. And we're going to kind of talk about three main tricks that I think he did in his golf swing. A lot of it having to do with his hands and wrist angles throughout the golf swing to get rid of his hook. So let's hop in. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be the placement of the grip in his hand. So if we look at the V's that the fingers make, again, that's this little look right here. His left hand V is pointing up right of his neck. If we do the same arrow with the left hand, or excuse me, the right hand V, it's pointing at the middle of his neck. Now this essentially is a weak grip or a weak placement in the hands. Now the reason why it's called weak is because it's a lot easier to hit the golf ball to the right when you have that placement like this with the right hand and the left hand placement like this. Now the reason again why Ben Hogan did this was because he had the opposite miss, right? He had the hook to the left. So him putting that grip this way actually gave him a better chance to not miss it to the left. But this was not everything that he did to change his golf swing. Now, a second thing with the weak grip that I think a lot of you guys don't understand is if my placement of the hand is this way, my hand is placed so much this way that it can't churn this way a lot, which means that it's hard to churn the club face left for a right-handed golfer. Now, the second thing it means when you have the placement of the grip like that, it's actually easier to have a large range of motion this way, right? Which means the club face will be opening on the backswing, which is something that we're about to talk about in his takeaway right now. He actually pronated, this is the left wrist, this is pronating with the left wrist, and then supinated with the right wrist, but essentially the wrist went like this a decent amount in the backswing, which actually allowed the club face to open up. So let's go highlight that real quick. So I think it's really easy to see what I'm talking about when we look at the down the line view. So we're going to draw a circle on the hand to kind of highlight this, and let's take him back. So if we slowly take him back, I want you to notice immediately you're going to start seeing that the club head starts working inside, his takeaway is a little inside. But as we kind of get him up to around position 2, which is right here, you can see that if he had a glove on, we could see the emblem of his glove. He didn't wear a glove, so we can't see it, but you can see the back of his hand, which means he turned it quite a bit, right? Which is opening up the club face. That was basically the second thing that he did to make sure that the ball wasn't going left. If you can get the club face wide open on the backswing, really hard to get it back closed, right? Which means he's probably not going to miss it left, which for him is a good thing because remember, he misses it very, very far left. Now, the last thing I want to talk about with his golf swing, which you can see from both views, is going to be something called radial deviation and then extension in the wrist. Radial deviation is basically an upward hinge like this. Extension is this motion. So extension is like you're doing a push-up. Radial deviation is like you're pulling back a fishing pole or pulling back the club or lifting the club off the ground. That is essentially radial deviation. Now, if you have a lot of radial deviation, it's easier to get a lot more extension. The two kind of go together. And that also does what, you think? That's right, it opens up the club face. So he basically had 3 things he was doing to open up the club face. Well, 4 things technically. He had a really weak grip in terms of placement. He pronated excessively in the backswing. He had a lot of extension and then a lot of radial deviation. And let me kind of highlight that for you real quick. This one's actually easier to see on the backswing. So let's zoom in real quick. It's a little blurry. I know it's kind of an old school frame. But if we get him up to the top of the swing, we can see something here. First off, we can see that his club shaft gets way past parallel, right? Which means he has a lot of radial deviation. Another thing we can barely see, it's kind of hard to see with this old school of a camera, but again, you can tell that he has a lot of this motion too, a lot of extension. Now those combined with the pronating move and the weak grip basically got the club face very, very far open, which then from there made it hard for him to actually close it, which means he got what? Rid of the hook, right? And that is essentially the purest form of a matchup, right? So he took a ball flight issue, which was plaguing his golf score. He fixed the ball flight issue by basically coming up with different swing mechanics, 4 in total, and then ultimately the ball flight issue of the hook went away and he started hitting power fades. And next thing you know, when he wasn't fearing the left miss, he started playing with more confidence. And then everything started to click from there. He started winning tournaments, started making money, and then became the legend that he is today. So again, this is why I picked Ben Hogan as the master of matchups. I think he really just embodies exactly what I want you guys to get out of matchups. He took a situation where he was really struggling with a certain miss. He came up with swing mechanics. He tested those swing mechanics. And then when they went wrong, he would go back, add a little bit more. He would talk to his fellow playing partners, figure out ideas on how to get rid of certain things. And eventually he came up with 4 really solid matchups that I think completely revolutionized how he played golf.